If you have your Bibles with you, I hope that you do. We're turning to Psalm 139. We'll be in Psalm 139 here in just a moment. We'll talk about raising godly children. I really appreciate that final song that we sang together. God give us Christian homes, the father, the mother, children, certainly God being our honored guest in our homes. That song will speak to you in different ways throughout your life. If you're a young person, you think about you as a young person and how your home is being established and built and what mom and dad do. At some point, God gives you a child. And all of a sudden, you're the father or the mother. And you have to make decisions. And God is to be instrumental in everything that the family does. And that looks like something for everyone in that home. Maybe even especially for those who come and visit. I did want to wait a little while. We had babies on the way last year, and so I didn't want to. This has been on my mind for a long time. I've been wanting to present this. But there's a great thing that happens when a child enters into the world. I'd heard a sermon preached many years ago. The preacher assured us that if a child continued to grow at the rate that it grows within the womb, that after 1 year, after being born, after 1 year, your child would be the size of the moon. And if you think about that, you have a single cell as the baby begins. And as quickly and as rapidly as that child grows to being 7, 8, 9 pounds when it's time to be delivered, that if that pace were to be kept up, again, from a cell to a 9-pound baby, if that pace continued with every cell that splits into another cell becomes 2 more cells, that at that pace, your baby would be the size of the moon. Now, I could not find that anywhere, so I'm not going to tell you all that, although I just did. But the fact of the matter is that again, let's think about this child. 1 single cell fertilizes the egg. And it's from the genetic material that is offered by the single cell and the egg itself that a new single cell is formed. Referred to by scientists as the zygote. That 1 cell splits into 2 cells, as I just mentioned. Then those 2 split into 4, then 8, then 16, and so on, exponentially increasing the number of cells in the developing baby. This happens throughout development, helping form tissues, organs, and everything else needed for life on earth. DNA is very important to this process, as scientists have found. DNA is essentially the master guide that ensures every cell knows what to do. It's astonishing how this is a scientific statement. It's astonishing how a single molecule directs the creation of an entire human being. DNA is real. God has implanted that into our physical frames. There is DNA within each one of us. There is a genetic code found in that DNA. But within that, when the single cell meets the egg, and those 2 combine to create that new single cell, that the process of life begins. And if you think about with me, it would be one thing for cells to replicate themselves over and over again with the same DNA in each and every cell. But it is quite another, and it is quite impossible for scientists to fully know and understand why some cells, at a certain point, some cells move over and become the lungs. Some cells separate down and go to be the liver. Every cell that is made or created within that realm of that womb has the same DNA in it. And they still don't know what triggers these individual cells to go to become the human heart. Some will be skin. Some will be the blood that flows through the body to keep the oxygen moving and keep the body healthy and alive. That every cell has a role and a place. And I love so much what Serge read for us just a few minutes ago. God will provide. Scientists can rack their brains all they want, but I have the answer, and so does Serge. God will provide. He makes it all happen. He makes it all possible for us. Psalm 139 and verse 7, we'll read it from the Word of God together. Psalm 139 and verse 7, where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall fall on me, even the night shall be light about me. Indeed, the darkness shall not hide from you, but the night shines as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to you. This is the work of God and who He is, that darkness does not impact Him at all. Verse 12 literally tells us, the darkness will hide no thing from you. God is light. And so when you look at Psalm 139 and picking up in verse 13, this working that goes on in the womb, that it's dark in there. It's dark in there. It does not affect anything that He does and that He will do to create each and every one of us in this room and to create our precious children. Verse 13, for you formed my inward parts. There it is. You covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret, and skillfully wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Your eyes saw my substance, being yet unformed, and in your book they are all written, the days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. How precious also are your thoughts to me, O God! How great is the sum of them! If I should count them, they would be more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. This is a beautiful passage about God and what He's done to create each and every one of us, that we are wonderfully made, marvelously and wonderfully made, and that He knows our coming and our going, no matter where we go or where we choose to be, that He is there. It cannot be avoided. We cannot run from Him. Job tried that. It did not work for Job. It won't work for us. God is our Creator. He knows all things. There's no place man can be that He is not. And for our parents of all ages, for all of our kids today, and I'm not worried about the age of the kid. I'm worried about what the parents are saying to that kid. You are uniquely, marvelously, wonderfully made. You are created by the hand of God Himself. You are His. He's invested so much into you. We're going to give Him back what He's given to us. To my children, I will say to them from the day they were born until now, you will be at services with your mother and with your father. We will attend together. We will worship God. We will praise His name. We will glorify the Lord of glory. My job as a disciple of Jesus Christ is to preach the Lord to those around me, to be a light to the world. That light starts in my home. God has marvelously and wonderfully made our children who are in our homes. He's created them and put them into our arms. And we owe Him. He thinks a lot of us by putting those into our homes and entrusting them to us. We are stewards of that which He has given to us for a short time, and I'm learning that more seriously than ever before. It doesn't last very long. It just doesn't. The birth of a newborn, an amazing thing. Let me share something with you that I did find. This is something they did to just estimate the growth of the baby and how this works. If you take the average growth rate of a newborn baby that happens in the first month, so now we're not in the womb anymore, this is the first month. Day they're born, 30 days out. If you take the rate of a newborn baby that happens in the first month and continue that astounding rate of growth until they are 20 years old, this is what that would look like. After 1 year old, they would be 3 feet 3 inches tall. At age 2, your baby, your 2-year-old who's still learning to form words, would be 5'7". That's the average height of the United States citizen. Your 2-year-old baby is now 5'7". At 3 years of age, your baby is now a whopping 6'10". 4 years old, your baby can dunk a basketball standing flat-footed, 9 feet tall. 5 years old, not a baby anymore, it's been weaned, can do some things on its own. Your 5-year-old is 10 foot 4 inches tall. At age 7, I'm going to skip a year. At age 7, 13 feet 7 inches tall. At age 10, 19 feet tall. With our growth rate tapering off by the time the child reaches 20 years old, they would be, 20 years old, 37 feet tall. And according to this, it says at that height, they'd be able to comfortably dunk a basketball while keeping one hand on the court outside the three-point line. One hand is outside the three-point line. They can be seated on the free throw line and still reach the rim at 20 years old. You know what's happening? What's God doing with this amazing rate of growth? And the pace in which it slows down. The pace of growth slows down because now God's allowing them to use their eyes and their noses to smell and to see, to understand what things feel like, to recognize who mom and dad are. You know, if our babies who are with us now, they are now at the point where even in this room full of people, they can spot mom and dad. And when they do, you know they have because their eyes light up. They're recognizing things. God is now moving this developmental growth, which was all being committed in the beginning, to now taking hold of what God has provided for them and given to them, and the homes that we provide them. Children are amazing. My boys, both of them, when they were very, very young, still riding in a car seat, because we're in Texas. Y'all know that, we're in Texas. It's very, very hot here in the summertime. We would get in our cars and put the babies in the baby seat, and they would face us, like whatever the law says. That's what we did. I could see them. And so we're driving in this hot car, and I am sweating, and I'm complaining about how hot it is. And I look back to my child to see what their thoughts are on this tremendous heat in Texas. They just lay there, like as they were doing in the house. They just lay there, like they don't. I'm like, I almost felt like saying, aren't you hot? Do you feel that? Are you with me here? I mean, this is horrible. You want to unbutton some of that? I mean, you're way wrapped up way too much. But they respond differently and at different times. And it just blew my mind that I have a child in my car with me right now, my child, who doesn't complain about the heat. He doesn't complain about anything really. And I said, Lord, keep it this way. And he said, we'll find out when we get there. But it is an amazing thing to have children in our lives, to think about our own growth and development, that God had done the same for us. So again, this lesson, Raising Godly Children, is about understanding that precious gift. You know, get your eyes, get your heart, get your mind on that precious gift that God tended to and saw to from the very beginning of its conception, and has brought it to this point in time and has provided and cared for that child in everything it's given to, in everything that He has given to the child. Look at Matthew chapter 18 with me. We'll read just one verse together and be thinking about this, because this will come from Jesus. Matthew chapter 18. The way that people see babies, the way that people see children, and the way that God sees them is often quite different. Matthew chapter 18 and verse 1. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus saying, "Who then is greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" Then Jesus called a little child to him and set him in the midst of them and said, "Assuredly, this is truly, truly, most certainly, I say to you, unless you are converted and become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself as this little child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever receives one little child like this in my name receives me." The argument is, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Who's the greatest of all of them? You know, imagine what the disciples think. It could be that they've put themselves on that list. Jesus has selected them. He is the Messiah. He's the Son of God. Who's the greatest, Lord? Because it could be Elijah, Isaiah, King David. He's got to be up there. Just tell us, like, what's the order? Who's the greatest? What does he say? Of all of the Bible characters, including Jesus himself standing there before them, what does he tell them? He looks for an illustration. He takes a little child to himself. He holds this child in his arms and displays the child to his disciples. And he says to them, truly, truly, understand this. This is what God is about. This is what the kingdom of heaven is about. Unless you get yourself converted and become like this little child, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. If one of the disciples had their name on the list, like, who's the greatest? I know I'm at least second or third. Jesus Christ says to these men, unless you learn how to be converted as this little child, you won't even enter the kingdom of heaven. That's amazing. There is something placed within our children that God shows us something about purity and innocence, and one that has been born by God, given life by God and from God. But a child that will grow up and reach the age of accountability and start to make decisions that are counter to what God desires. That child has a window of time with his parents, with her parents, to be told there's a God in heaven. We are accountable to Him, all of us, and we will live that way. Because when that child drifts from the Lord and is no longer one of these little ones, but has reached the age of accountability and is accountable for their sin, God provides a way. You can be born again into the kingdom of heaven through baptism. In the book of Revelation, we are told that those who do not know God are cast into the lake of fire. John tells us in the book of Revelation, this is the second death. If any of our children do not obey the gospel when they reach the age of accountability, they will suffer the dreadful second death. Hebrews 9:27 tells us it's appointed for all men to die once. It's appointed for us all to die once. Revelation tells us some will die a second time. You know, the only way you can keep from dying that second time and being cast into the lake of fire is to be born again. It's a very simple formula. I want to give it to you. I want you to remember it. If you're born once, you die twice. If you're born twice, you die once. That is what the Bible teaches. And our children, with the limited time we have an opportunity to say to them, to share with them who God is, how much He matters, and how willingly we obey Him. Because Jesus is coming, and our children need to know. Look at verse 6. Whoever, these are such as of the kingdom of heaven. Whoever, verse 6, causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were drowned in the depth of the sea. If one person was to mislead or misguide a precious child that God brought into this world, you would be better off if a millstone was tied to your neck and you were cast into the sea, because you're going head first down to the bottom. And it would be better for you if that's what happened, as opposed to you misleading or misguiding a child that God has given to us in our lives. It is so important. I don't ever want my boys, and they will have their opportunity to say whatever they'll say about me. I do not want my boys to say that God didn't matter to me. I don't want my boys to ever say to anyone that God was not important and that I was not willing to obey Him. I don't want my boys to tell the world at any time, in any moment, that I was willing to compromise God's will. We had some tough conversations in my home about God's will and whether we should be here at church, in services, or out doing something they wanted to do. We had some very tough conversations about that. I don't ever want them to recall or have a memory of me wavering in my faith. Because the example I set for my children sets a tone for who they are going to be. They're going to decide. It will be on them. They are accountable. Our children are. But I have a window of time to set the tone, to show my children what's most important to me, what matters most, and how I love the brethren. For the parents who are here now, those who are raising children, keep serving God. Devote yourself. Prepare yourselves for those difficult conversations, because if you haven't had them, they are coming. Can I go do this? Can I stay the night here? Not on a Saturday night. Sunday's coming. We're going to church. We are going to honor God. You need to know that's important. Because children, they're going to learn more from us by the way we behave than what we tell them. How can I, as a 65-year-old man, 70-year-old man, call my boys and say, you better be at services? I heard you weren't going. How can I do that if they say to me, Dad, what are you talking about? We hardly ever went to services. Why are you putting all this pressure on me now? And I tell them as a 70-year-old man, and they're 35, because Jesus is coming. Heaven is real. You've got to devote yourself. You're slipping away. You're drifting. That my message won't stick if they say, well, you wasted a lot of time when you were my age. Let me do it your way. That what I taught them in my actions lasted longer than what I taught them with my words. Walk the walk, talk the walk. Show them who God is. Look at verse 10. Take heed that you not despise one of these little ones. For I say to you that in heaven, their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. We talk about children. As Christians, we're raising children, but Jesus gives us this picture where he opens this door for us and says, here's something that's true. Their angel. There is possession here of an angel who oversees the life of our children. He couldn't be more clear about that. Be very careful that you do not despise one of these little ones. Now imagine despising a little one or not sharing God with a little one, and their angel is there. Their, T-H-E-I-R, their angel. And I can't make the right decision concerning God and his will for my family? You think that angel is going to report what we're doing? Imagine they can. They stand before the face of God. To know we're accountable and there's an angel involved in the work that's going on in our homes is scary. Do not despise one of these little ones. These precious children, this is what Jesus is saying to us. These precious children are not beneath you, and they are not beneath your attention, and yet are apt to be despised and overlooked by the ambitious nature of our lives. Just to overlook our children, or to think little of how we're handling them, or the way we're treating them, or how much of God I'm sharing with them. The book of Deuteronomy, God tells the children of Israel, when you walk by the way, when you lie down for bed, when you rise up in the morning, tell them about God. And what we're seeing in this world today is as soon as a kid can hold it, they're getting the iPad. Because I've had enough. And we turn over one of these precious little ones to the world. When I should have used those moments to say, let's sing together about Jesus. I'm telling you, the time flies. I can't know that any better than I do now. Much of my opportunity has come and gone. But angels play an amazing role in our children's lives. Psalm 34, verses 7 through 8. The angel of the Lord encamps all around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who trusts in him. Think of the mother and the father in a family, and they all fear God and trust him as this child entrusted to them is placed into their arms. Psalm 91 and verse 11. For he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. This is the passage that the devil used when he spoke to Jesus. Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 14. Speaking of the angels of God, are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister to those who will inherit salvation? That is a powerful verse. Their angels in heaven stand before my Father. Hebrews 1:14, they are ministering spirits sent forth to minister for those who will inherit salvation. Here in Matthew, Jesus shines a brilliant light on a relationship between God and his children that we could have never known about. What will our parents do with this precious gift from God? This final question for all of you is for every single one of you who has a child. I'm not worried about whether your child was born yesterday or 50 years ago. My question is for every single one of you. What will our parents do with this precious gift from God? We know the answer, don't we? Because we know what we've done. We also know that time is given and opportunity is provided to continue to be the parent that loves the Lord first and foremost, but shares that love and that passion with the children whom we bore, and to remind them how great our God is and that it is because of him that we are your parents. It has all been done on purpose. We have a deep and abiding love for you that will never, ever depart. There's one greater than us, and he loves you more. Give your life to him. Give your whole life to him. If I could tell my boys one thing, I'll tell it to them now. Give your whole life to him. It's the greatest advice your dad will ever give you. We love the Lord here, and he loves us. Let's go out from this place. Let's be thinking about our family. Let's be thinking about those that we can encourage, lift up, train up, help them get stronger. One of the realities of family life is that we kind of get used to it. We're kind of dug in. You do your thing. We got ours. Can I say to you, especially as the father of the home, I can disrupt that at any moment. I can shut all that down and start over if I see that we're going the wrong direction. Anyone in the family can say, we are resetting. Sometimes that needs to happen. Let your love and your devotion to God just shine forth. First of all, in your own heart, in your own life, but then in your home with those around you, the people you love. And then outside of that, show the world, show your neighbors what a godly home looks like. Christians who love Jesus Christ, the way they behave, the way they move, where they are during the day. We can help you obey the gospel. Jesus died for all those who would come to him and believe in his name. There's an opportunity here for each and every precious soul to make sure before they leave here that their heart is right with God. We want to help you with that, and we certainly will. We will open this living word of God. We will help you find your way to him. The path is the same for all of us. If we can help you, come forward now while together we stand and sing.